Well, hello, and welcome back to the Curious Coaches Lemonade Stand with yours truly, your host, Dr. Gina. So happy that you are joining us today. If it's your first time, welcome to your virtual neighborhood third spot. It's your little lemonade stand, a place you can drop by, get some refreshment, some fresh insights, something to make you go, maybe something inspiring, maybe something you want to share and chat about with your friend, your neighbor, your family. And if it's not your first time and I'm welcoming you back, thank you so much for choosing to drop by and spend your precious time here with us. Really do appreciate it. And as always, we are ready to shake and stir and serve you up something nice and tasty. I'm so happy to welcome today a wonderful guest from across the other side of the world. We are literally in opposite time zones right now. This is the wonderful Nerice joining us all the way from Hong Kong. Nerice, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello. Hi, Gina. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you here today. So I'm Nerice Gietel, and I've been thinking a lot about this introduction and what I want to say to start off with, and you'll probably get a sense more of who I am as we talk. But I'm a career coach who supports people who are transitioning through life and their careers. And I work with young people as young as master students who are going into looking for their first jobs. And I also work with professionals in the Middle East who are transitioning out of their corporate roles, working for Fortune 500 companies. But that's what I do. Yes, that's part of who I am, I guess, but it's a part. It's a part.
Well, it's always wonderful to have a fellow coach here. And what a diversity. It's so interesting. You said transitions, and yes, those are both transitions, but those are really dramatically different examples of transitions that you gave us.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Yeah. It's and I really love the combination because I don't know, I like variety in what I do. So most of my master students here are actually it's the first time because they're going through multiple changes and transitions as they're doing the master's program. A lot of them come from mainland China to do the master here in Hong Kong. So lots of change and transition, and helping them navigate that is very rewarding. Whilst, working with executives and senior professionals in the Gulf region who often tend to be from different parts of the world, right? So it's a very diverse group of people as well.
That's managing
Who
like multiple levels and layers of transition
absolutely, yes,
simultaneously.
in both, yeah, with both groups that I work with mostly. But and then my private clients are from anywhere around the world. Often individuals who themselves are thinking, it could be any stage in their career, but they're thinking, okay, something's not quite right, but I don't know which direction to take. I'm feeling a bit stuck and I don't know where to begin, but I need to move somewhere, like professionally or yes, the shift needs to happen.
So this transition kind of niche of coaching, did you find it or did it find you? How did you come to specialize kind of in this area?
Oh, wow. I've never thought about the question in this way before. I guess, I find it or did okay, so starting my coaching journey, I started my coaching business after a couple of major changes in my life, which
Mm,
also forced me to transition in a way. So my coaching business started. So I did my first coaching training a month after I was let go, being 3 months pregnant from my
wow.
job. Yeah. I started, and coaching has always been, I was already involved in the coaching and mentoring committee of the CIPD, the HR group. So yeah, it just things seem to fall into place. Although I'm telling it in a nice way now, and it was all, I was in a state of shock, but
Yeah.
still, it seemed to be the right thing to do. It was there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna enroll in this program, and so I started my first coaching training back then, and then I gave birth 6 months later. So I became a mother, and then we moved house. from where we were living in Oxford to the northern part of England to look after my sorry, this is my husband's dad who was unwell and who was dying. So there was another move
Goodness.
there, a major transition again. And then after he passed away, a few months later, we moved to Hong Kong. And it was in Hong Kong that I started my coaching business. So having gone through lots and lots of major
That's
life changes.
an onion's worth of layers of
Yes.
transition that
Yeah,
you
that's
just
why I couldn't like come up with a simple like, oh, did I find you? No, no, no. I lived through a lot of change and transition.
It sounds like
And
it found you, if I was gonna
yes,
summarize that.
okay. I
And
was
it
just like,
found you and ambushed you from a lot of different angles at once is what it sounds like.
yes, sorry. Yes, I guess you can say that. But yeah, the reason why I don't know, I'm telling the whole story is because it's actually um so when I started my coaching business in Hong Kong, I decided to focus on that transition of women going back to work after a career break,
Mhm.
after a parental, a
Big one.
maternity leave, big one. Right. So that's how I started. So I started in the niche within the niche, if
Mhm.
you like, my coaching business, right? I was focusing on women going back to work. And it's actually very interesting because these two transitions that I now work with, right? And I see these two groups that I mentioned, it's actually came about as a result of another period of extreme, lots of changes and transitions. So during the pandemic, shall I keep
Ah,
going? Yeah. During the pandemic, so I was, I've been working 5 years on my business here in Hong Kong. Women going back to work. That's all I'm doing. Women going back to work in a B2C capacity, right? And all the hustle and the marketing and trying to do that and building. And were starting to get to know me in Hong Kong because when we moved to Hong Kong, I literally knew 5 people, if that. So I had to
good.
build a entire network, and I did quite well in that. And people were like, "Oh yes, if you need something around that, contact Nerice." So I was starting to get there, and then the pandemic happens, and the social unrest in Hong Kong, and my husband's mom got ill as well.
Oh my
Was ill,
goodness.
and we didn't have a chance to see her. So he said, "Yeah, I think we need to leave Hong Kong." And it all went from a conversation that started in October and we left in December. And I was absolutely devastated. I
Wow.
was, I'm yeah, I'm realizing that yeah, I was absolutely broken. But I guess the reason why I'm still smiling is because through all of that, so we first went to Europe for 6 months whilst my husband was on a sabbatical, and then we moved to Abu Dhabi, where he took on a different job. Uh, yeah, and that's where I got in touch with LHH Golf. So I started working with the professionals transitioning there in that way. Because I soon realized when we were in Abu Dhabi that I couldn't translate, I couldn't, so the reputation that I had built, I couldn't just continue from it in Abu Dhabi. I had to start over.
My
And
goodness.
the idea of trying to establish myself as one of the career coaches working with women going back to work at that stage of my life and where I wanted to be in my coaching journey, it seemed like too much work and it wasn't the most important thing for me. I just wanted to continue coaching and
Okay.
not spend 80% of my time on doing activities that enable me to find clients to coach. I wanted to shift that. So I was thinking, so how can I do it? And I was also working towards my PCC. So how am I going to go about getting these coaching hours that I need?
Yes,
Because I was
it's a
very
lot.
slow in, right? I was very slow in gathering them because of the way that I established my business in Hong Kong so
Mm,
far. So I was
understandable,
like,
yeah.
no, I want to accelerate this. So how am I going to do that? And then I happened to see a post from LHH come by on LinkedIn. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if there's one here. And I looked up LHH Dubai and sorry, that's how that. So yes, so that's how I ended up with them, with LHH Golf as so enabling me to coach or to work with people, right? It,
Yeah.
and
That's
advice.
incredible. Okay. Just
Sorry, yes,
I need
a
some
lot.
some
Yeah.
timing around all of this. So
Okay.
from the first move from
Right.
Oxford
Right.
to Abu Dhabi, how many years are we talking about?
Right. Okay. Yes. So we moved to Hong Kong the first time in 2017. And then we left Hong Kong at the end of 2021, and we moved to Abu Dhabi in 2022, and then we moved back to Hong Kong in 2024.
Whoa, that's more than many folks will move in their lifetime, and not just the number of times, but those are giant moves. Like, those are geographically, culturally giant
Mm,
moves.
mm, mm. Yes.
I
Yes.
don't I'm
Yeah,
just
sorry.
gonna say my bias as a PCC holding coach, my bias if I were interviewing you to do a job in LHH specializing in transitions coaching, I wouldn't even ask you about your PCC. I would have just heard this
Right,
story and been like,
right.
"Qualified, yeah."
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't have PCC at the time, and yeah.
Not even ACC probably.
Yeah. Right, right,
You are an example of life experience.
right,
When I think about what
right.
coaching clients are looking for,
Mm,
I mean, we always say you can coach anyone, and yet, realistically speaking, we all have that bias to someone who we connect to because we feel they can relate to our experience and
right,
understand what
right,
we're going through, where we're coming from.
right, right,
And hearing
right.
all that you've transitioned through, it sounds to me, okay, this woman is an expert in understanding how to navigate change. So I think I'll be in good hands as her client.
Well, yeah, yes, yeah, yeah, yes, absolutely, and I guess that's where, because whilst I was in Abu Dhabi, I was asked once to talk about on the topic of change and transition, and then I told my story, and because there were other stuff before as well, but not this rate of change, right? So my first big move was as an 18-year-old going from Curacao to study in the Netherlands. Right, which I
You are a
and
true
that
global citizen, Nerice.
yes, I am, but that first one I never thought of as anything special, because the majority of people who finish secondary school in the Netherlands at Curacao, in my days definitely would go to study in the Netherlands. So one of my aunts had done it, even one of my great aunts had done it. Not everyone in my family, but had done it. So it was like, oh, it's nothing special, it's no big deal, but it's
It's an
huge.
established kind of
It's
path.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly, exactly. But it's the reason why I became passionate about the topic, and it's just like, oh wow, it's all about change and transition, is that so even before the last few moves, I had a lot of experience of doing it, but I was surprised at how much I struggled with the transition once we arrived in Abu Dhabi. Right, so the
Mm.
change, right? So we went from one place to another, but the internal and this is the beauty of coaching, because I had completed another senior high level coaching training at the end of 2021. So for the PCC level, yeah, coaching training. So I was much more aware. So I was playing with my own awareness, right? There was a lot of yeah, this ability to see oneself and understand what's happening. So feel the feelings and
Mm.
sort of take a step back and watch what's going on. And I could see myself in those first few months in Abu Dhabi being angry, feeling lost, feeling yeah, very angry with my husband often. Like, oh, I can't believe we had to do this, and this is so hard for me, and all of that. And
That resentful anger that
yes, that
this
is
is your fault.
yeah, exactly. I don't yeah, 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 it's your fault, and you don't understand how much I'm suffering here.
Mm.
And no, service, everything was fine, right? It's okay, but I just thought like, and I could see it, and I knew the stories I was telling myself about it, but I couldn't stop it because and now I look back and it's just like, yeah, just having self-awareness doesn't mean that the suffering goes away, right? Doesn't mean that was longing for belonging, right? And I was looking for finding my people. And all of it, right? Yeah, anyway, sorry. So this is
No,
why I
that's
was
very
like, "Oh,
true because it's a journey. Like that
absolutely,
awareness, that reflection is a step on the journey.
absolutely."
But I think
That's
that's a
right,
really that's a difficult thing for people to come to terms with sometimes, that
right.
just because you recognize and understand it doesn't automatically mean, okay, now it's fixed. Now those feelings are gone. You still
That's right.
have to deal with them once you've named them and recognized them as such.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just had to go through it. I had to go through the grief, the loss, and finding myself again and trying to establish what really matters. So I was better equipped with tools and uh some of them were my own tools of my career breakthrough course. So I actually sat with those exercises, like, okay, what really, because I was so lost. I actually thought, okay, this is so hard. I've done this. I spent 5 years building a reputation. I'm not going to do it again. I'm actually open to anything. Maybe I should go and do a PhD. Maybe I just get a full-time job. I just need to do something. I was like, all over the place. And then I sat with my own exercises and I was like, okay, now, okay, let's take a step back. What really matters to me? Why
Hmm.
is this important? What's the vision of my life? What do I want my life to look like in 5 years? So not just the here and now, this like angst, but
Was that the
what
first
am
time you sat with your own tools like that?
no, I did them before. So when I
Okay.
developed it, I did it. So so I created the course in 2019 and the end of 2019. But then it was so yeah, and I it was very clear when I sat down and I did the values exercise again, and it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna carry on with this business, but maybe not in the way that I did it before. Maybe I need to shift my, so I don't need to hold on to, I am a career coach who only works with women going back to work from a career break.
So that's that letting go. And there's
Yes,
there's as you mentioned,
exactly.
that there is that grief of letting go of that
Right.
particular identity.
That's right. That's right. Because that ultimately for me, when it comes to coaching, it's as you say, I have lots of experience of transitions. And that's why, yeah, and it's great to have another opportunity to talk about this because not just one kind of transition. I have experienced lots of different kinds of changes and transitions. So I enjoy and I have something to offer people who are going through all these different ones because it's 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 still very present for me. It's yeah, I've lived through them.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And a lot of people live through multiple types of transition and changes and transition. So my story may seem a little bit extreme, but a lot of people do go through maybe becoming a parent, followed by a job loss or the other way around. Most of us have transitioned from being students to trying to enter the workforce in some way. And you have all those different steps, all those different times in life, and things are happening, right? And the way the world is going, the rapid rate of change with technology, AI, and all of that. Lots of things are changing,
yeah. And
right?
I
A
think one of the
lot.
most frustrating things is our lack of control over how
Right.
those changes happen, or,
That's right.
how kind of
Right.
embedded they can be in one another, and that they'll
That's
get,
right.
as they have been in your life, layered upon one another. We don't get the opportunity to say, "No,
No.
no, no, one at a time."
Yeah. No.
Don't behave like
Exactly.
that.
That's right. That's right. Yes. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And my life as an adult has been so different from me pre-leaving my parental home. I never moved once growing up.
Wow,
So
that's
I'm used to
dramatic.
and yes,
That makes it all even to the point of traumatic because it's such a dramatic departure from everything you'd experienced up until that
exactly.
point. Wow.
Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, exactly. And also the traumas I was going through when we did the multiple changes in the past 4 years. As a parent, because I had a vision of what my childhood looked like stability, and accepting that we were going to put my daughter to so many changes in such a short time because I'd never experienced that myself. So there was also enormous amount of guilt.
Yeah, I can understand that. So how did you process that? How did you work through that?
Um, that actually was mostly helped by a conversation with somebody who I knew here in Hong Kong. And I told her how bad I was feeling about this. And she just cut me off. No, she didn't cut me off, but she was just like, cut it off, Nerice, I moved many times as a child. She was one of those global citizen, third culture children. And so she said, no, it's absolutely fine. And the essence, so for me, home became being with my parents and not where we live. So, and that was so important for me. So the focus went from, okay, worrying, well, this is going to happen, right? We're moving here and then we're moving there again. And oh, okay, maybe we'll end up moving back to Hong Kong. And we did. But it's just focusing on how we are in the moments we spend together, our presence
Mm. Yeah.
together, and certain things that we do to, so we are the stability, our
Yes.
presence.
As corny as it is, it goes back to
Yes,
the old adage, "Home is where the heart is,"
that's
right?
right.
A
That's
house
right.
is the structure, but
That's
home
right.
is where we make it with one another.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how would you say, your daughter has fared through all of those changes and transitions?
Um, the first one, traumatizing. Sorry. When we left, the first move, but then by the second one, she was already okay. So the move from Hong
The
Kong to
resilience already got
yeah,
developed, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I remember 6 months after we arrived in Abu Dhabi, she said, "Yeah, I still feel like we're on some kind of holiday. I feel like we're tourists." And then moving back again, so we were moving back to a familiar place. So that again was, yeah, better. And I often want to capture it for her, actually. I just say, Let's sit down and write about this." But she's like, "Oh, why, mommy?" So I try, just for her to remember maybe when she grows up, right? Because when you're so young, you just go through it. And I think it shapes you.
Okay.
Um, but yes, anyway, so that's
And
the
that's
side
actually
thing.
that's the question
Yeah.
I wanna ask. How do you think it has shaped her? Like, what do you think this will give her as a young woman, as she develops and goes on her own unique path into adulthood in her own life?
Yeah. Mm, it's really hard to say. I mean, one of the things uh, I would like to think is, and I don't know if it's just the moves, but knowing that there are different ways of being okay, that it's not fixed on one location and one set of surroundings and environments, that you can be happy in many different places and knowing the difference of, yeah, feeling at ease. I mean, she loved Abu Dhabi. Big part of that was all the theme parks. I mean, they have theme parks here too. But and we just went a lot to the theme park. So I don't know. I mean,
Well,
that's
I could see
for
what a
me.
beautiful way to conceive of it. I feel like we're on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That sounds
Because
appealing to me. I'm like, "Oh, if you
exactly.
count that my transition to a new country, a totally different part of the world and culture in those
Right.
terms, okay, yeah,
Right.
that sounds good. That
Yeah.
sounds enticing."
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. 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 So for her, in her world, it's just like, it's, and here she's happy again, right? In Hong Kong, because quite a few of her friends are still here.
Good.
So
So you came, like,
yeah,
right back to the same or similar area that you'd left? Okay,
yeah, same similar area. Best friends are still around.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So it kind of
Yes.
is like you just gone on a grand adventure for a few years.
Really? Yes, yes. And I felt that when we arrived back in Hong Kong, I said, it did feel, looking back, it's just like a little holiday. It was an extended holiday. And then I still remember. So that's one part of it. But I still love looking back and thinking how intense it was in the moment.
Yeah. How would it have
Mm.
been different if when you were in Abu Dhabi, you knew, in a couple of years, we're going back right where we were in Hong Kong. Everything's going to,
If I
return
knew
with a
for sure that
boomerang.
that's
How would
really
that have changed the way you were responding in the moment in Abu Dhabi to all of those challenges there?
So the thing is, there was always the opening of going back to Hong Kong. So it was a possibility. It wasn't a certainty. So I wonder if occasionally it allowed me to relax a little bit. So one of the things I was thinking about today is that because for me it's really important to work, work, work. Right? I'm very self-disciplined. I work for myself, work alone, and I most days if my daughter's not at home, I'm at my desk basically from 9 to 5 if I can fit that in. Right? I have this like office mentality, even though I left the office, somebody else's office a long time ago. Um, but in Abu Dhabi, at one point, I took a 4-week interior design course. And that's so I think I wonder if that's because I don't know, maybe I let go of this like, it's like, okay, maybe I'll move again anyway. I don't know. But there was something about me thinking, no, Doris, you don't have to just hustle. Do something a little. It's okay to take time out of just okay, the only thing that's worth doing is something related to your business, is something relating to coaching.
This, by the way, explains your beautiful backdrop, which,
Oh,
looks nicer than, a Zoom or a Teams background. That's actually her
this
real
is,
stuff behind her, folks. This
yeah,
explains
maybe
it.
this is one thing. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah. This is, yeah, yeah.
I'm very curious about this, and you're stirring the curious coach in me right now, thinking
Go,
about
go, go.
how you granted yourself that permission to leave your normal, sounds like a very disciplined, structured way of working and being, to go on this 4-week course.
Yes.
And the fact that I just think it's really poignant and ironic that as we're speaking, I am seeing evidence of what it brought you behind you. Like,
Right.
very
Right.
typical coaching question of asking, what did that experience bring you? I'm
Right.
seeing it as
Right.
I'm talking to
Right.
you, which is
Right.
incredible.
Right. Yes. Yes. Like, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
I
else
would. Yeah.
would it bring you in internally?
I'm getting better at taking time off as well. So, right. So we're able to travel a lot during school holidays because of my husband's work as well. And I'm getting better at just saying, no, I don't work those weeks and months necessarily as much as I do. So it also this sort of this awareness that you don't have to constantly be on the go. And actually sitting back with my own exercise made me realize, okay, you're constantly thinking, what are the things that actually matter to me?
Yeah.
And my health and my family are up there.
Yep.
And
Being
taking
clear on
time,
those priorities is
right?
incredibly integral. Yeah.
Exact- Yeah. So, okay, how am I looking after my health? Right. So since the move, actually, I have certain things blocked out in my calendar, times blocked out in my calendar every morning for a morning walk and twice a week Pilates. And they're pretty much
Well,
non-negotiable.
good.
Right. So this
Good.
has happened since all this change. Right. So this is it. Because I also realized going through all these changes that actually work will be all right because I always, if there's time and I'm not busy looking after my daughter or anything, I will work. But there's one thing that I've been neglecting for the longest time in my life, and that's my health in many
Mm.
ways. Right? It always when work
And
gets more, it
it's
squeezes
always
out.
difficult when you're moving
That's
too,
right.
and with
Yeah,
all of the movement you've done, that makes it even
right.
more challenging. Just being a
Right.
mom and being a spouse and
That's
and
right.
being a professional, all of those challenge it, but you add
Exactly.
all of the moves as well, and
That's right.
that's really you really have to be committed to your health to prioritize it
Right.
properly.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's one of the things, right? So I make time for things that matter. I make time, as I said, on school holidays. As much as possible, I will switch off from work. And most clients actually understand. I mean, students are not around. A lot of my transitioning clients are also taking a break because it's the first time they actually have time to take breaks. And also my private clients, sometimes I have one or two right? That actually during those summer months is when they have time to think, to have space to think about themselves and their development because they're still in a busy job. So yes, I keep that. But other than that, I prioritize being with the family and experiencing our time together as fully as possible because let's be frank, I can probably work, you know, if I'm blessed with life for another 30 years, right? If that work. But my daughter's only going to be a child for a few more years.
Until recognizing the
Yeah,
difference in that is so
right.
incredibly important, right? So which
Yes,
one do I prioritize? If you make it
that's
just
right.
a even just a logic and rationality-based argument, it becomes clear, not to mention going with your intuition and what your emotions would say
That's right.
about what you need
Right.
to prioritize and who and how.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
you have not only survived a lot of change, you've thrived
Mm,
through change.
mm,
I'm hearing ways in which you've done the work, you've been reflective, you've understood, what this journey has meant to you on a personal level. You've done the work to prioritize, to really dive deeply into your values to make sure that what you're doing and what you're putting first aligns with those values.
right.
That's all of this, again, to me is the important resume of why Nerice makes a great life transition coach. So
Yeah.
this work sounds like it really fulfills you.
100%. Yes. Re- r- mm, yes. Every single time I come off a call, I'm I'm just grateful that I have all these steps that I've made, and it's a lot of work, right, to be intentional, and it takes a lot of courage along the way as well.
Yes.
Make doing things that, yeah. I'm thinking about this thing about belonging and how people perceive you. So letting go of the importance of how you're being perceived. So for a long
Mm,
time, setting up my business, some of the people closest to me were like, "You're not doing anything. What you're not working, or if you're not earning enough, because I'm not in an office, right? I'm not going. What you're wasting your life." But there is a lot that goes right. Yeah, people don't necessarily get it. It's like, oh, you're barely and I working is incredibly important for me. But I think I've spent my entire career trying to find a way of doing work that is meaningful and yeah, finding a way of doing things that are I enjoy doing in a framework that brings out the best in me.
would you say you found it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, so this is it, right? And right now, so this work in itself is fulfilling, but I'm also doing it on my terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that bring you to know you're doing it on your terms? Because that is huge. When I think about
Right.
myself, currently navigating the
Mm,
entrepreneurship
right.
journey, I'm just about to hit the 2-year mark. It's
Right.
flown and also gone at the speed of molasses all at the same time. I've had, like the
Right.
highest peaks and the lowest valleys. And so much of it, as you say, is wrapped up in that perception. And it's not
Right.
even necessarily what people are telling me, it's what I think they might be thinking, right?
Right.
And, we all know this is called the Curious Coach's Lemonade Stand,
Right.
partly to remind myself, I don't wanna be in
Right.
that place of judgment. If
That's
I'm
right.
not wanting to judge others, why am I judging myself, much less accepting my perceived judgment of others on what I'm doing that I believe is aligning with my purpose?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And to answer your question, what it brings, I think it brings me a certain kind of inner peace. And it's as I said, so being able to be away and not feel guilty on when we're on holiday, like
Yeah.
not feel guilty about putting on my out of office for a week or 2 weeks, whatever it is, and not have that constant like worry that oh I should be doing something else. It's and also because currently, as I said, I get work coming through the university and LHH and the occasional private clients, and sometimes I'm plagued by this, "Oh, okay, this is very comfortable right now, but I should be preparing myself for if these contracts run out with the university or something. I, yeah, I need to be prepared to get more private clients." And then I gone back to, "But actually, I'll be okay even if this happens. I will
Yes.
find another," so finally starting to trust the
That's
being
what it is.
okay.
I think in my
It
my maturity, the wisdom
right,
coming from experience and
yeah,
maturity, I very much have redefined resilience. I used to think resilience was about being tough, and now I
right,
think resilience is about being able to trust that
right,
you will be able to rise to the
right,
occasion no matter what that occasion is or when it comes or how it comes. It's that self-trust to know it's okay. Whatever life
that's right.
throws at me might not be easy, might not be comfortable, but I'll figure it out. That to
Yes,
me is now resilience. And,
yeah,
5, 10, 20 years ago, I'd have very different definitions of what I
right,
think resilience is.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
the yeah, go
no, I was just gonna say how because you were talking about belonging a moment ago, and I'm just
Mhm.
trying to think through how does that connect to belonging?
Mm, wow, okay, which one? Well, so when I think about change and transition, so when we go through changes and transition, um, we go from a how so in other people's minds as well, we can they might start change the way they see us, right?
Mhm,
For yeah,
mhm.
or what they see. And okay, so let me just talk about it. So and sometimes some of the anxiety that we have. So let's go back to my my thing of arriving in Abu Dhabi and all of that. I was looking for a new community, right? So
Yeah,
in Hong Kong, I had established a group of friends and all of that. So
and you
um,
worked for it, as you said, from
yeah,
5 to
exactly.
community. Yeah.
Yes, right? To community, to friends and networks and all of that. So you're coming to a new place and it's just like, okay, so how do I belong? How do they see me here?
Yes.
What part am I going to play in this new environment? And and how am I going to show up? How do I want them to perceive me, to accept me so that I'm one of the group? Uh,
Mm,
right? And this is constantly, and you're also trying to hold on to the what you let go of partially, right? So I'm still part of that which I left behind, but and for me, actually, one of the funny things that I do is I keep my phone numbers. So I move countries and I get a new local phone number for WhatsApp, for example. And I take the longest time to let go of that because somehow I'm like, oh, but if I change my number, so for example, we've been back in Hong Kong for 2 years, and I only swapped WhatsApp from my Abu Dhabi number to my Hong Kong number like 2 weeks ago. But so I still have some things, right, where it and I think it's this whole thing, right? Oh, this is, this is how they know me, and I'm part of these chat groups, and I'm
that's
in
your
Abu Dhabi.
connection.
Yes, my connection is my thing, and then I'm here now, and I don't know what happened. I think I was about to give my WhatsApp number to one other person, one more, and I just thought I'm going to change it at some point. I can't keep giving this old number to people when I know I'm gonna change it. So I just sat, it wasn't planned because in my head as well, I made it really big, like I can't let go. So yeah, so it's a very small example, but that's part of the psychology, right?
Yeah.
How it translates into my actions. And that's one of them. This like, oh yes, I have to keep this phone number. And in my mind, yeah, there was this whole thing around, okay, maybe I need to sit one weekend and find the time and think of the way that I'm going to try to keep this number somewhere else. And then, but in that moment, I think it was a Wednesday afternoon, I was saying, no, I'm just going to do it. Click, 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 done. I just changed the number because
That's
I
a
was
very
ready.
relatable example.
Click, click,
Like,
click,
if you
done.
overthink it, you know you wouldn't do it. I
Ever
find
again.
the same thing
Yeah.
too. You just gotta
I've been
rip the Band-Aid.
overthinking it
Do
for
it
two
before you
years.
can overthink.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just click, 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 gone. And I'm still part of most of those WhatsApp groups, and I'm still Right, and all of it, and some people don't read the message that your number has changed, so I bump into them and they're like, "Oh, I've been messaging you, but you don't respond." I said, "Oh, but didn't you see?" Yeah, anyway, that was gonna happen, and it doesn't matter when I did it. If I do it in 5 years, it will still gonna happen, so yeah, but that's the belonging thing. It's yeah,
Would you do
and
it differently if you were gonna go back? Would you do it faster? Would you have waited? Would you have tried to plan anything around it?
what, the changing phone
The change
numbers?
of that number.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
just as
no,
as
not
a perfect example.
if I move again, I just going to have to do it. I just do it. Because I did the same thing in Abu Dhabi, so I didn't change my number when I arrived, and then I actually lost my phone, but it was just lost for 48 hours, but in that time, I thought I had lost it forever, and so I deleted all of my and so I wasn't able to do it at all, like this quick transition, right, that you just swap numbers. So I lost all my chats, I lost everything. So I should have learned from that, but we don't do it. Sometimes we just do the same things over and over again. Luckily, this time I didn't actually lose the phone, lose all the chats.
But those I feel like it was those instances
Right.
that actually led to the moment of that Wednesday afternoon
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like,
of just
okay.
saying, "It's gotta happen one way or another. Let me just do it."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. But yeah, so that's, I think that is a very small example, but, and I'm sure there are other bigger things that I do, right? Or, and people do to like try to hold on to the past um, and when you're trying to find your new way into the new,
Yeah.
find your
Yeah.
way in
I really appreciated that example though, because it demonstrates, just how uncomfortable navigating that sense of belonging is when
Mm,
you are yourself in a transitional moment. And I come back to what we were saying in the beginning about the layers of
right.
going through that yourself,
Yes.
experiencing it, and then
Right.
diving right into coaching people who are going through very different types of transitions. I'm
That's
sure that
right.
lends a level of empathy to your presence when you're coaching them, though.
100%. 100%. Yes, definitely. Yes, it's sort of in a deep understanding. Um, yes, 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 yes. And I'm thinking now about my students here. For example, again, who, what does a Caribbean woman have, in common with mainland Chinese students who are moving to a new city? But I, in some ways, there's a level of understanding. Like, yeah, I know what it's like to be in a new place. I also know what it's like to have to communicate in groups in a different language, because they speak, a lot of them speak Mandarin, and here in Hong Kong is mostly Cantonese, and I get that anxiety. I feel, I know what, because when I studied in the Netherlands, um, I had to do everything in Dutch, and Dutch is my second language. And I remember the pain and the stress of wanting to say something, but always being the last one to put my hands on because I was so busy trying to formulate the thoughts and the answers.
Yes. So this
Right?
is something I've been meaning to ask this whole time is what
Right.
languages are you coaching in all of these different places?
Mostly English.
Most
Yeah.
English? Okay.
Mostly, yeah, yeah. I've had the occasional Dutch speaking client, but mostly in English. Yeah.
Okay. Because
Mostly
I
in English.
find I speak a few languages, and it stresses me out when I need to
Right,
coach in a different language from
right.
English, to the point
Exactly.
where I don't even, because I used to facilitate in different languages too, and I just realized it was 10 times the stress. I overthought everything, I worried that I wasn't gonna use the right terminology, and
Okay. Yes.
I just got to a point where I said, "This is too much."
Right.
These are not, like, $1,000,000 speaking engagements. I can't give
No.
myself a complete anxiety attack to try
Right.
and consider what I want to say in a different language right now.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. No, no, no. So it's English is the, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I did all my trading in English. I've been living in mostly English speaking yeah, well, not Hong Kong, but since 2012. So yes, that's what I'm comfortable. Yeah, my most of my professional life actually I've worked in English, speaking English, so that comes naturally.
Well,
Yes.
thank goodness for
Yes.
that. As
Yes.
as you're navigating this much change, I'm sure, whether
Yes.
it's your family, whether it's language, I would be very grateful for things that remained constant. I'd be
That's
holding
right. Yes, 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 yes.
And that's why
Yes,
the phone resonates, right? Because it's just an
right,
example of something you're trying to hold fast to. And it makes
right.
complete sense to me that you're doing that, even though sometimes, when I find myself doing it, I get annoyed and frustrated with myself. Like, this is a small thing, let it go.
Right,
But
right, right,
when you put in the larger picture of, but this is a
right,
small thing that's helping me deal with so many
right.
big transitions right
And
now,
I
then
yes,
you
that's
can allow yourself to be human and recognize, okay, there's a reason. There's a reason why this thing seems to be so big
exactly.
right now when it really isn't.
That's right. That's right. Yes, and I get yes, and I liked what you're saying there about, allowing yourself as well because we can because a lot of my issues in Abu Dhabi was not just how what I was feeling, but being feeling bad about like, "Oh, Nerice, you understand what's happening.
The
Why can't
guilt,
you be
those
okay?"
are all judgy emotions, right? Feeling
Just
the
not
guilt or
yes,
shame
yes,
or,
all
yeah,
of them. All
they
of
don't
them, all of
serve.
them. Yeah, 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 and you're showing up like this and you're being so you're feeling, you're going through pain and then you're beating yourself up about it.
Yeah. Which is just, again, layering stuff you don't want to feel on top of each
Right.
other.
That's right, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been very, very enlightening. And, I keep coming back to how lucky your clients are to work with you because you have such an in depth understanding. Your empathy comes from so many different places to kind of converge with your professional experience and the wisdom that that creates together. I can only imagine must create a really magical and powerful coaching presence for them.
Thank you. Yes, I yeah. Was gonna say I hope so, but I know. I know. I know. I'm at the stage now that I know that my presence is more than half the work. The way I show
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
not just what I do and the skills and the tools. It's just how.
Yes. Ooh, that gives me chills. That is beautiful. Well, you know what? I know I had mentioned we are going to pull a card to close out today's
Yes,
session,
yes.
as we
Oh,
tend to do
exciting.
here.
Oh, I love that part. Sorry.
Yes, so this is I always I'm very wedded to this deck because it's a very diverse and inclusive deck, Yoshi Yamamoto's deck,
Hey.
and it contains mythologies, stories, legends from around the world. And I always shuffle it on camera so that people know I don't pre-pick a card. I never know what I'm going to get, but let's see what presents itself and how it relates. It
Yeah, right.
never fails to amaze me. I never have pulled the same card, and it always relates.
Mm.
Today's card is the Queen of Swords. I
Okay.
know this is a legend about her name is Turandot. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I can't remember which country, it was from. Might have been Nepal? I'm not sure. But I can tell you about the Queen of Swords. So as a suit, there are 4 suits in tarot, and the swords represents the, air signs. It correlates to the air signs in the Western astrology. So that would be Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. And the sword suit represents intellect, all of the, pursuits of the mind, anything that has to do with thinking, with logic, with rationality, as the queen, second only to the king in terms of hierarchy in the sword suit, the Queen of Swords is known as the widow queen, the wise queen, the one who's been through everything, been there, done that, got the T-shirt would be the Queen of Swords. Her wisdom comes from a place of deep and broad experience. And she has that sword and wields it as a tool of discernment above all else. When I think about what you've just shared with us today, Nerice, you very much. If I were to name which queen in the tarot deck you would be, I would definitely say the Queen of Swords.
Yes, thank you. That's all I
Even
can
the way
say.
you just ended there about not just
Mm.
the tools, it's not
Right,
just her tools that she uses. She knows how important intellect is, but she also recognizes,
right. Yes.
the beauty and the importance of that presence. And she gets that from wisdom and from
Right,
experience, not from a
right,
book. Even
right.
though she is very,
Yes.
learned, she'd be the most learned queen.
Yes, very
Wow.
learned. Got the masters, got the second one, got them all. I've got them, but it's the presence.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's absolutely so that yeah, that's very much because I seek knowledge. Yeah, I'm thinking about the next thing all the time, but ultimately what matters is this the being.
That's beautiful. And she's the one, we always say because she wields that sort of discernment, she can stand firm in her beliefs and she knows what belongs and what doesn't, what isn't needed, what isn't a priority. She can cut it away without any guilt, shame, no issues like that because of everything she's been through, all of the fires she's walked through, and the trust she has in herself to have that discernment. So beautiful and perfectly apt card to pull for you.
So much. That's yeah, I'm gonna sit with that after this, actually. It's beautiful. Yes, it's yeah. No, I mean, there's the knowing, but sometimes, you get busy and tired. And so, but in those moments, I need to remember this.
Yes.
Because
Yes. Well, thank you.
it's ongoing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, this has been such a beautiful conversation, and it really. We do lots of stuff, talk about lots of things on this podcast, but today was a very grounding one. This is one that brought me back to what took me to a place of wanting to start this podcast in the first place. So thank you. We really got to live out and exemplify what the Curious Coaches Lemonade Stand stands for, what it's really about and why we're here for people. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your time, for your beautiful presence today, Nerice. And
Thank
again for doing this from all across the world. We aren't even on the same day right now, you and I, and yet we are certainly on the same page and wavelength.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I'm a day ahead. It's Friday. Sorry.
So
You're off to
I'm
bed
gonna get
soon, and I'm
there.
just starting my day. No, thank you so much. Yes,
Oh,
I
very
appreciate you.
welcome.
Thank you so, so much. No, I really thank you. Thank
Course.
you.
And thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. Please remember to like, share with others who might find this message uplifting and inspiring as well. And subscribe if you haven't already so that you're notified every time a new episode is ready to go, which is about a bi-weekly cadence. And of course, feel free to give us feedback in the comment sections. Let us know, what this might have stirred up in you insight wise, or even other things that you'd love to hear, watch us talk about here on the Curious Coaches Lemonade Stand. So until next time, be well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.